I wanted to start this video off with giving everyone a little chuckle, but I just couldn't think of a knife joke. That's right, baby! Welcome back to Dark Souls Dagger Only! In today's video, I'm going to be taking on the challenge of Dark Souls 1 and all of its content. Now, you may be thinking, well, Daggers Only? That sounds easy. Well, that's what I thought for Dark Souls 2, and then I ended up dying 138 times. So sometimes, you're wrong. But I've held you here for long enough, so without further ado, let's jump right into this video. We start off this run like any other by making a beautiful man and naming him something completely relevant. Our first boss of the run is of course the Asylum Demon. The first boss in any Souls game is usually pretty easy, especially with that damage. Oh my god, is bleed this good? I think as long as we're able to bleed a boss, this should be a pretty easy run. As soon as I get to Lodran, I put a level in Vitality as well as a level in Endurance before I make my way through the Undead Parish. Now for the Taurus Demon fight, the first thing I did is turned right, immediately went up the ladder and killed the two archers above. Next, I spawned in the boss by running down the bridge a little bit and then leading him all the way back to the tower with the archers so I could climb the ladder again and get a plunging attack on him. The rest of this fight was just staying close to the Taurus Demon, dodging his attacks, and punishing whenever I can. I made sure to grab the basement key on the way to the blacksmith, went to the Darkroot Basin to grab the Grass Crest Shield for extra stamina regen, killed this big guy so I could get a Firekeeper Soul to upgrade my Estus Flasks, and freed Lautrec from his sail so that I could get the Fap Ring later on. Next up is the hardest boss in the game, the Bell Gargoyles. More often than not, I kept finding myself being stunned by one of the gargoyles and then finished off by the other. And this was making me pretty frustrated, so I decided to take a break from the Bell Gargoyles and moved on to the Stray Demon. On my first attempt at the Stray Demon, I ended up dying before I got any damage in, and I also forgot to grab the bonfire here, so I had to go all the way back to Lordran. I will never make this mistake again. On my second attempt at the Stray Demon, I died in the exact same way as the first. I just never learn my lesson, do I? On my third attempt, I finally made some actual progress. On my winning attempt, my strategy was to bait out the butt slam attack since it has a very long recovery time, long enough that I just might be able to proc bleed on him. And just like that, the Stray Demon gets put down like a stray dog that got a little too close to PETA. Now time for round 2 with the Bell Gargoyles. I got really close on my first attempt, but then I fumbled right at the end. Yeah, I don't know what I was doing there. Fucking finally. Fun fact, I ended up dying to the Bell Gargoyles more than Ornstein and Smo. There's Bell number 1. Now I just gotta go fight Quayleg and ring the second one. On my way over to Blighttown, I noticed this homeless guy just sitting next to a ledge, and I couldn't help myself but to just kick him off. Alright, now on to Chaos Witch Quayleg. I'm sure with a few procs of bleed, this fight should be as good as over. I wonder how many hits it takes to bleed her. Still no bleed, huh? Alright, let me look this up on my phone real quick. For those who aren't aware, Quayleg is immune to bleed. Fuck. Well, I guess I'll just have to come back to this one when I level up my dagger a little bit. I farmed a few souls from the Red Dragon on the bridge in Undead Parish, and then went down to the blacksmith to buy some Titanite shards as well as the smithing box or whatever it's called. With this, I was able to get my bandit's knife to +5. I made a quick stop by the depths to grab the large ember from this chest. Then I farmed these slugs down in Blighttown for maybe about 15 minutes until I got enough large Titanite to get to +9. Alright, let's see what kind of damage we're working with here. You know what? That's not as bad as I thought. The Quayleg fight's pretty easy as long as you stick to the right side of the spider's head and run away as soon as she starts charging up for the big AoE. I did not die to Quayleg, not a single time. There we go. And there's the second bell. Now we have access to Sen's Fortress. But before I leave Blighttown, I decide I might as well take down Ceaseless Discharge now. Of course I made him fall off the cliff. Back in Lordran, I equipped my new armor set that I will probably be using for the rest of this playthrough. Now onto the Moonlight Butterfly. I actually tried this boss a little earlier in the run, but I found out that they're immune to bleed, so I decided to take it on later. Whew, that's some pretty good damage there. And that's another easy boss checked off the list. With the souls gained from Moonlight Butterfly, I head back to the blacksmith and buy the Crest of Artorias. I joined the Cat Covenant just so those guys in the forest don't chase me down anymore. In the Sif arena, we grab the Hornet Ring, then start the fight. Sif isn't too much of a threat. All of his attacks can be dodged pretty easily, and as long as you stay under him, most of them will just go right over your head so you can get some good chip damage in. When he jumps away from you, you want to catch up to him as quick as you can so you can run right under him and just dodge every attack again. I will not make a joke about PETA this time. With Sif being defeated, it's finally time to tackle Sen's Fortress. Alright, fuck me, I guess. Iron Golem took me a little longer than I'd like to admit. I had a little trouble knocking him down and off the cliff, and I also had trouble with dodging his grab attack. So after dying to Iron Golem 3 or so times, I finally pulled off the win. Anor Londo can be a pretty tricky area to get through. You've got a bunch of assholes on a narrow walkway, and of course you've got the big and scary Ornstein and Smough right at the end. Ornstein and Smough isn't too difficult of a boss fight as long as you remember to stay patient. If you get greedy and go in for attacks whenever you want, you're going to end up getting wombo comboed and killed immediately. The way I played this fight is I tried to stay as far away from them as I could, wait for Ornstein to charge at me, get a few hits in, and then move away before Smough gets too close. It took me a few attempts to finally get to Phase 2 with Super Smough. For Phase 2, you want to try and stay close to Smough to get hits in. It also makes it easier to dodge his attacks when you're close, except for his butt slam. When he starts to do his butt slam, you want to run away as quick as you can, wait for the lightning to go away, and then charge back at him and get some hits in. Phase 2 is so easy that you can always beat it on your first try. I said, first try. After killing Ornstein and Smough, we go talk to Tits McGee and grab the Lord Vessel. With the Lord Vessel, we're finally given the ability to warp between bonfires, meaning we don't have to run from A to B now, we can just go directly from A to B. After placing the Lord Vessel, we're then given the task of gaining 4 Lord Souls. The first Lord Soul I decided to go for is the Bed of Chaos. To get to the Bed of Chaos, you have to go warp to the Demon Ruins bonfire, which if you remember, I went down there earlier to kill Ceaseless Discharge, and I'm 99% sure I rested at that bonfire, but for some reason it doesn't let me warp there. So I guess we gotta run through Blighttown again. After getting to the Demon Ruins, we quickly stumble upon our first boss of the area. The Demon Fire Sage is just a cheap reskin of the Stray Demon with the exact same moveset, so this boss is easy. And immediately after the Demon Fire Sage is our next boss, the Centipede Demon. This guy isn't too hard to beat, but he's really annoying to fight. In the clip I'm showing, he just kept standing around in the same spot doing the same attack, and it took so long for him to finally get to me. I also did a horrible job at dodging all of his attacks. When he ended up getting up to me, I stayed under him, and every single time he jumped up to throw a fireball at me, I got hit by it. But finally, after a whole lot of patience, the Centipede Demon goes down. As always, the big lava pool with all the feet wasn't much of a problem. For the Bed of Chaos boss fight, if you could even call it that, all you need to do is run to the left, kill a little bug, run to the right, kill another little bug, then run through the middle and kill the big bug. And that's the first of 4 Lord Souls. After defeating the Bed of Chaos, I run straight to the Duke's Archives in order to take down our next Lord Soul, Seath the Scaleless. I die a slow, long, and scripted death before I use my Monopoly Get Outta Jail Free card. I die way too many times in the Crystal Cave before finally making my way to the real Seath the Scaleless boss fight. And as always, the first thing you want to do when you enter the arena is destroy the crystal that keeps Seath invincible. Then after that, you of course want to get killed by the clam that you accidentally let into the boss room. For the actual fight itself, all you really can do is just stay close, get your hits in, and when you see crystals pop up on the ground, run away. If you stand on those crystals for too long, you'll end up getting yourself cursed and will have half of your original HP. We don't want that happening now, do we? With the Naked Dragon dead and gone, we move on. I planned on fighting the 4 kings for my next Lord Soul, but while I was fighting them, it was made abundantly clear that I just did not have enough damage to take them down. Before I finished off the first one, 2 other kings ended up spawning in, which ultimately resulted in me dying. So instead of fighting the 4 kings, I decided to grab the very large ember so I could upgrade my dagger a little more, before making my way to Gravelord Nito. Pinwheel was an absolute joke. I hope I don't get attacked by a scary skeleton dog when I load back in. This scared the shit out of me, I'm not gonna lie. The hardest part about the Gravelord Nito fight is trying to deal with all the skeletons in the arena. When you first drop in, there will be 3 skeletons that'll charge you down. They're not too bad to deal with, but still, it's an inconvenience. And if you run to the back side of the arena, there's a few more giant skeletons that I did not want to deal with, so I tried to stay on this side of the arena. As for Nito himself, he's kind of a pushover. He's very easy to hit, and he's very easy to dodge. I mean, you don't even have to roll for most of his attacks. If you just stay to his side, his sword will go right over your head. The one attack that might hit you is his big AoE, but you just run away a little bit and you're fine. And with not much trouble at all, Gravelord Nito gets sent back to his grave. Now with every Lord Soul other than the 4 kings, my only option now is to go and tackle the DLC. So I kill the Hydra, grab the broken pendant, blah blah blah, here's the Sanctuary Guardian. The Sanctuary Guardian is actually a pretty difficult boss in my opinion. I had remembered it being a pretty easy gateway boss to the DLC, but I was quickly proven otherwise by how fast I died on my first attempt. After dying a few times, I finally realized that the key to me beating this boss was to be more patient. I was being way too greedy, going for as many hits as soon as I could, but in the end, I found a few good attacks that you can punish him for. The one where he points his wings forward, you can get a few hits off that one, or if you need to, you can heal from it. Also, after he does his little combo where he'll swing his head at you or swing his paws at you, if you go to his side, you can get maybe 1 or 2 hits off before he jumps away. After a long game of patience, the Sanctuary Guardian goes down. Hey Chester, can I get that outfit? Over your dead body? Alright then. Oh boy, this was a tough one. During this fight, my dagger was doing a whopping 39 damage per hit. And what makes this number even more sad is the fact that Artorias is highly resistant to bleed, meaning I won't get a single proc throughout this whole fight. So the only way I'm going to be able to beat this guy is if I just get good at the game and learn how to dodge every single one of his attacks. Which that took me quite a while. But anyway, here's what I learned. When Artorias does his front flip sword slam, you either want to dodge to the left or the right. If you dodge forward, you'll get hit anyway, which will leave you vulnerable to 2 more front flips. For the attack where he does a giant leap into the air, then comes crashing down with his sword, you're going to want to wait a little bit before you dodge this one, or else you're going to get hit by a little bit of splash from the attack. I only ever dodge this attack to the right. I don't know if it works if you dodge to the left, forward, or backward, but I know that right is safe, so that's what I did. When he charges right at you and thrusts his sword towards you, you want to dodge to either the left or to the right. If you dodge forward, you'll get hit by either the first or second stage of the attack. There's 2 hitboxes for it. And if you dodge back, you'll also either get hit by the first or second. For both his front hand and his backhand sword slash, all you need to do is just dodge. Not much to say about that one. And the last attack I'm going to talk about is his double spin slash. When you see this one, you always want to dodge behind you. If you dodge forward, you get hit. If you dodge right and you're close to him, you get hit. If you dodge left and you're close to him, you get hit. This attack is the one that got me the most because it took me a while to just learn to dodge back. I don't know why. After learning how to dodge all his attacks, this fight just becomes a huge game of patience. And after a long, hard, drawn-out fight, you are able to say that you beat Artorias. Before taking on Manus, we talk to this lady, give her the soul of Artorias, and pick up our next best dagger of the run. From one extremely difficult boss to another. As of recording this voiceover, I have still yet to beat Manus. I've put over an hour of attempts on this boss, and still, it's just so damn hard. This is my second time ever doing the Dark Souls 1 DLC, and for this fight, I'm not using the pendant, or whatever the item is that dodges all his magic attacks, because I don't want to use it. Also, a little spoiler for the death count. Right now, I'm at 130 deaths, which is more than the Dark Souls 2 run, so I've already lost that. And to just put it in perspective of how hard this DLC has been for me personally, before I started the DLC, I was at 70, which is still a lot, but a lot less than 130. But enough yapping from me, let's get into what I learned from this fight. There's two variations to his overhead hand slam. One of them turns into a combo where he also slams his catalyst down, and the other is just him slamming his hand down and that's it. It's very easy to dodge, just go left or right and then hit him afterwards. Another attack that is very easy to dodge is when he digs his hand into the ground and swipes it up towards you. For this one, just dodge towards him and then hit him immediately after. The last attack I'm going to talk about are his 3 different magic attacks. It wasn't until my winning attempt that I properly learned how to dodge all 3 of these attacks. So for the one where the black orbs rain down from above, the best way I found is to roll back twice, then left, then forwards. This way you're not too far away from the boss when the attack is over, meaning he won't be doing the annoying magic attack, and this way you're a little closer to him so that you can punish immediately after. The most annoying one of these to dodge is the one where he shoots a bunch of black orbs right at you. For this, if you're too far away, they're all going to hit you and you're just going to die. But if you're up close, you can dodge to his side and all of them will go past you, leading to you having a window to attack him. And even after this attack, he might do a big roar or whatever, and that just gives you more time to punish. And the last magic attack is the one that I thought was just impossible to dodge until, again, the winning attempt where I found out I was a dumbass. For this one, he'll summon a bunch of black orbs on like an outer ring that close in on you, or close in on the boss rather. For this one, if you're close to him, they won't hit you. That took me a long time to find out. I was trying to dodge through the little gaps the entire time, but no. Just stay close to Manus and it won't hit you. And with all that done, Manus now calls me father. Damn, looks like your arrow Calla met that dragon. Dark Souls 3 had Half-Light and Champion's Gravetender. Dark Souls 2 had the Blue Smelter Demon, and now Dark Souls 1 has Black Dragon Calamite. What do all these bosses have in common? They're just not that fun. Whoa, hold on now. Before the Black Dragon Calamite superfans get mad at me, I will say this. Boss design, mwah. Boss arena, mwah. Although I do think that Calamite is one of the better dragon boss fights in the series, I will say he's just too easy to be a good boss. How I beat Calamite was I stood next to his leg, kept hitting him, and if he did a charge attack, I just dodged to the side. That's how easy it was. Anyway, with all the DLC bosses being executed, we can now finish the main game. Time to clean up all the boss fights that I missed throughout the playthrough. First one on the list is the Gaping Dragon. He was incredibly easy because I'm just way too overleveled for this fight. Next up is everyone's favorite girl, Crossbreed Priscilla. This fight was also pretty easy, but for some reason she was invisible the whole time, which I don't remember it working like that. Next up is Dark Sun Gwendolyn, which I actually did die to once. I just didn't remember that volley of arrows doing so much damage. But other than that, pretty easy fight. And finally, on to the Four Kings. The Four Kings was... well, it was the Four Kings. Just put on heavy armor, start swinging, you're good to go. Now with every other boss in the game defeated, we can finally move on to Gwyn. Ooh, ignore that one. Wow, I suck at parrying. Yep, still suck at parrying. There we go. Yep, just gotta keep parrying. There we go. Nice. Oh, how about another one? Why not? There you go. Oh, you want one more? One more? Alright, here you go. Yep. Nice. And that is every single boss in Dark Souls 1 done using only daggers. Now, as the ending cutscene plays out, I'd like to quickly go over the run and how it went. First off, the total number of deaths is 156. Yeah, that's a pretty big number. Time played was 15 hours, 2 minutes, and 3 seconds. And the boss fight that gave me the most trouble was either Manus or Artorias. I didn't keep count of how many times I died to either of them, but both those bosses were pretty big challenge for me. If you want to watch more Dark Souls Dagger only, I made a playlist. And finally, I just want to say thank you for watching till the end if you made it this far, and good morning, good night, and goodbye.